Goodbye, Final Fantasy 14. Oh boy.
Today, I want to talk to you guys about why I'm leaving Final Fantasy XIV, my reasons for doing so, the impact on the content going forward, not just within my controller guide series, but also how it will impact our collabs over at Work to Game and news coverage, as well as FanFest. So this video is going to be quite detailed. I'm going to talk about my reasons first and foremost, and then I'm going to cover, kind of my plan going forward. If you guys want, you can jump to any specific section of this video that interests you the most. Now, that being said, I know this video probably will upset some people, and
that's exactly what I was hoping for. Yes, if it's not going to make anybody mad, I don't want to hear about it. Who cares?
Same time, I know there'll probably be people who are rejoicing that I'm leaving Final Fantasy XIV, and to both of those groups, hopefully you guys have the best day ever. I only wish good things for you always. But I consider myself an honest person. I always try to, be really honest with each and every one of you about how I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, and that's what this video is going to be.
Great.
If anybody's been following my content for any period of time, none of this should come off as a surprise. We probably had these conversations more in private and on stream. But I want to be honest with you guys. I want to be direct with you guys, and I'm going to tell you what's going on. Now, if you guys want to see a review of Endwalker, I just posted that over on Ginger XIV. You can go check that out. I've got some plans for that channel, but we're not going to cover that here in this video. But there's three main reasons why I'm leaving Final Fantasy XIV. And
number one is it's full of weebs. Yeah, that's probably going to be number one for sure, guys. 100%.
I want to be also very direct and not have set false expectations. This isn't a break. I've been and have taken breaks from Final Fantasy XIV. This is something very, very different. I'm actually not burned out of Final Fantasy XIV. This is something very, very different because I've experienced those things in the past. I feel like Final Fantasy XIV, I'm looking for them to invite me back into the game, and maybe 7.0 will be that re-invitation to the game. But don't misunderstand me. I'm not committing or promising that I will be back for 7.0 or 8.0. It's really going to be on Square Enix and to see if they kind of make a game that I want to play and I want to invest my time in, but that hasn't been the case, and that hasn't been the case for a while. I think it's been the story that's kind of held me on. Story's been completed, and after having finished Omni 90, I could tell you that experience was the hardest thing I've had to do. And in regards to that, let's go ahead and dive into my reasons for leaving.
I think that's at the end of Wrath, that's what a lot of people did too, is they felt like at the end of Wrath that a Lich King, that's kind of like the end of the story. So yeah, I could see other people quitting Final Fantasy after Endwalker just on a narrative level.
Final Fantasy XIV, just so we're all on the same page.
Okay.
I've been covering Final Fantasy XIV for over 13 years. Longer if you actually count Project Rapture. This equates to easily over 120,000 hours. I have bled Final Fantasy XIV. I have slept, I have dreamed, I have daydreamed, I've written, and
there's no way it's 120,000 hours, by the way, because I've played WoW. No, you do the math, because I played WoW probably on average every single day since I started playing the game in 2006, on average probably 7 hours a day. And I only have maybe 35,000, 40,000 hours. It's impossible to have that much time invested into the game.
Been a part of this community before it even was a community, before there was even a game. I don't know why this game just captured my attention as a Final Fantasy fan, as an 11 player looking to see what this next generation Final Fantasy game could be. So it's been an incredible journey. During said time for this game, I wasn't even married, I had no kids. Now here I am as a father of 5, and that's really the first reason I want to invest more time in my family. Clearly they are everything to me, and I've been coaching in my family. Clearly they are.
Okay, so yeah, anyway, I can see that absolutely. I definitely agree with him. Is that Yeah, you've got to put more time into your family and to other stuff as well. I mean, 100%. I get it. Everybody gets that. I don't know why you have to quit entirely to do that. And I feel like there's multiple reasons. So it's not like this is just, oh, I'm quitting because I'm not satisfied with, you know, the amount of time I'm spending with my family. I think there's probably other stuff too. But like, I've never really understood that, because like you just play the game less doesn't mean you have to quit entirely, but you know, that's how I look at it.
Everything to me. And I've been coaching soccer, been coaching baseball, we've been riding bikes, we've been doing so many fun things.
Yeah.
And what I had to do to help get the content out, especially for, and I'm going to finish the controller guides, but we'll talk about that in a second. But I would be getting up at 5 a.m. every day. I'd be going to bed after 10. Like, these are some very long days that I have to be as a provider for the family, but also try to be present for the family, and at the same time also working on content. People have often asked, how do you do it, Brian? I can't, like, you put out content, you're doing all these things, how are you doing it? And it's like, I would always say, like, I get up, like, I get up before everybody else does. Like, I'm up very early and I'm going to bed
That's super unhealthy to only get 7 hours of sleep, man. Like, I think 7. I think you're supposed to get like 8. I don't think they should do that. No fucking shot. It's like, also, I hope this is something that 7's fine. I don't know. To me, I need like more than 8. But I guess it's personal. Some people only need 3 or 4. But to me, I think it's important to be efficient with your time. Like, working and spending a lot of time doing something doesn't necessarily mean that the outcome is going to be rewarding. And it doesn't necessarily mean that the outcome is going to be proportional to the time spent. So sometimes if you're spending that much time doing something, maybe working harder, you're kind of already capped on that. And it's about trying to reevaluate how you're working and like where you're approaching things from, like what direction you're approaching things from.
Very late, and that takes a toll. That takes a big toll on anybody, right? And so I want to pour more of my time back into my kids and into my family, and this, I think, is a really good thing. They are like everything, and I'm looking, maybe one day they'll want to step into Final Fantasy 14, you know, and at that point when they're old enough, that might be my re-invitation back to the game. But when it comes down to it, I feel very complete with the way that Final Fantasy 14 ended. I don't like how it ended personally, and you can go watch that video if you're interested, because I'm not rehashing it here, but I feel complete. I feel very satisfied with my experience, and that's why this all falls down into, will they re-invite me back into the game? Ultimately, time will be the teller here, but no, I'm going to pour myself into that. I want to invest in my family. I want to invest in my health so that I can continue to be with my family. And that really ties into, like, I'm not streaming late at night. I can't keep getting up at this early. I'd rather be investing my time if I'm going to get up early and exercise and making sure that I'm eating right and meals are planned. So that
this is 100% the right call. Like, yeah, it is everything you say. Like, this is all 100% the right call. Like, you should definitely, like, yeah, if you're overweight, you're not in shape, you're not spending time with your kids, you're making videos about a video game you played for over 10 years, this is, this is a come to Jesus moment. Absolutely.
Try to be there for them for as long as I can. And I think that makes a lot of sense, and hopefully people understand that. The second main reason is I'm going to keep investing into my comedy career. As a stand-up comedian, I'm having great success. Like, even outside of being successful in this space and having people show up for shows and keep getting invited back to shows and just ultimately really having a wonderful time with stand-up comedy, it's incredible for my mental health. There is so much that I get to explore, and I get to be funny, and I get to just really kind of not have to worry about the internet and the rules of the internet. And if anybody knows what I'm talking
I think that there's always going to be rules, and if you're part of, I'm sure comedy clubs have different rules and different types of politics as well, same as the internet does. I feel like the internet does have its own set of stupid rules, but that's just a different set of stupid rules. It's not a new set of stupid rules. The real life has this too. It's just, worst comedian ever. No, I mean, like, obvious. What's funny about that? I mean, if he's doing well, if people are going out to his shows and he's enjoying it, he says it's positive, then he's a comedian, right? I mean, I don't even see how this is even a question. Yeah, why meme on the guy for that? I hate this guy, to be honest. Really? You hate him? Holy shit. What did he do?
talking about. I made a joke in a video, and like literally, like obviously lots of positive, but the negatives always seem to float up, and it's those notes, those people who stated these dumb things about the joke, which was clearly a joke, that is the reason why I will never post my stand-up on the internet. And
what was the joke? What was the joke? Does anybody know what the joke was? I have to know what the joke was. Talks about himself too much. Who gives a fuck about you? Man, can you please stop? Are you really telling him who gives a fuck about you whenever we're watching a YouTube video that he made about himself on his own fucking YouTube channel? That's like, I swear to God, man, people on the internet, like a normal person walks down the street, they see a piece of dog shit on the sidewalk or on the grass, and they're like, oh, it's a piece of dog shit, I just walk by it. Somebody on the internet fucking sees a piece of dog shit on the grass, they're walking on the sidewalk, they get down on their hands and knees on all fours, and they start rolling around in the dog shit, and they're like, ah, this is so nasty, who would put this here? I hate this! Holy shit! Can you stop it? Can you fucking stop it? It's his own fucking show. Getting a comedian is gonna suck. Is he as thin-skinned as he seems so far? Well, I think it just depends on what it is. I mean, some people are better at dealing with things in real life. Other people are better at dealing with things on the internet. So it's like probably like people don't confront you in real life the same way they do on the internet. It just doesn't happen. Now, obviously, has it happened before? Yes, it's happened before, but this is certainly not a trend. Yeah, I mean, people are generally more pleasant and more amicable in real life. Here we go.
Because people are just so hypersensitive and they just can't seem to handle certain things. And it's not even...
I really don't like how I don't know what the joke is. This is making me so fucking mad. It's like, did he make a joke about like a school shooting? Was it about like how COVID vaccines make you a cell phone tower for Brandon? Like what are we talking about here? Is this like a race joke? Yeah, I mean, like, really? This sucks. I don't even know. Yeah.
Like an offensive joke. It's just, it is what it is, right? But that just
so
kind of reaffirms, like, I love being a stand-up comedian. I'm having great success being a stand-up comedian. Maybe I can get to the point where I can take the show on the road, and maybe more people can then be a part of that. And so the second piece of this is that I'm going to invest more time into my stand-up, into writing jokes. You know, so again, family comes first, comedy, right there after that. And then the third reason, which also won't come as a shocker for those of you who've been following the content, New World is just so effing good. It is such a great game, and it delivers.
I can see why a lot of people hate him. I can see it so well. He's gotten to that age, you know, he's in his upper 30s, lower 40s. He's probably one of the youngest New World players out there. And he's aged out of cat girls, and now he's in muskets, collecting saltpeter, and farming expertise. Absolutely. Yeah, seems good to me.
On the things that I've been advocating for in the world of Final Fantasy, and that's where I'm drawn to. Like,
I cannot wait to read the comments from people that are just absolutely fucking out of their minds that somebody would quit Final Fantasy XIV, the critically acclaimed MMO, fucking for New World. Oh my god, I feel like the fucking comments are gonna be better than the video. Holy shit.
Can't deny the fun and the community that we've had. And so all of those things, being somebody who has limited time, somebody who wants to spend his time and put them in the right buckets, leads me to saying, if I can play just one game, what game do I want to play? And this all came to a head when both New World and 14 had an update on the very same day. 14 deserves better than me having to force myself to play it for the content. And when that, because I was kind of feeling it and I was kind of questioning it, and I was hoping that maybe the updates would be staggered, so yeah, I could be a part of, you know, both, because Final Fantasy's
I wish they did that too. I hate whenever updates happen at the same time. It's like you have a WoW update on the same day that there's a new Final Fantasy expansion. It's like, oh fuck, like, what is this?
game. Like, hopefully none of this comes across as like, oh, you shouldn't play Final Fantasy. Now, I'd still highly encourage you to check it out if you never played Final Fantasy. But at its core, I wanted to be in New World. That's where I want to spend my time when I have time to game, and that's where I'm going to spend it. And that's why.
Yeah, I can see a lot of people viewing this as a wrong opinion, but I think New World's gotten a lot better over the past year that it's been out, and it's improved a lot, and the numbers from people that it's retained proves that. It shows that. I think that it's fine if he wants to play. There are things that New World does that Final Fantasy doesn't do, and I think that's fine.
I'm leaving Final Fantasy XIV. My fear is that New World goes down the same route that World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy XIV have gone down. And we can see how that leads to issues in their success. Their success has eventually led to an issue, and shouldn't we all be blessed to have that level of success that the games, I think, have struggled with late in their life cycle. And so that's hopefully something that as a player that I can continue.
It's unfortunate that he's not more specific, because I'm actually curious to know what he's not happy about with those games.
Provide feedback for that game and make something new. I love that New World feels like it's a game that they're willing to take risks, and I really, really appreciate that. Where in Final Fantasy's terms, whether it's Square Enix, a budget, or whatever, it's a game that just doesn't take risks. It's a game that we've advocated for risk taking, but either they're just too burnt.
I don't know if there's a lot of risks in New World. I feel like New World is playing a, like, I don't know, like, how much have they done that's, like, really risky? I haven't played a lot of the new patch and, like, some of the more, like, fine-tuned features, so I'll have to wait and see.
By the original launch, too scared, or from a financial perspective, it just isn't in their best interest. And I can respect that, but I wish they would. I wish 14 was a game that took risks, and it's just not anymore. It honestly feels, and I'm sure this is going to be probably the most upsetting thing I say in this video, honestly feels like it's a game that's designed as a way to placate angry WoW players. It's a game that's set up to catch the player who gets so angry at World of Warcraft. Here's a nice place to land. And that's a great business model. Honestly, it's pretty damn smart. And at the
I mean, look, the thing is, I feel like every MMO is like that. I mean, there's the same people that stop playing WoW and they start playing, like, there are, all of the angry WoW players went to Final Fantasy and they got banned, and now they're in New World. And all of the normal WoW players that quit probably are either playing Final Fantasy, Lost Ark, or New World. So I think that's effectively, it's nothing specific about Final Fantasy XIV. I feel like all of the games are like that. But the truth is, though, he is right that Final Fantasy XIV is a very differently skinned World of Warcraft, in the sense that it has a UI that functions relatively the same. You level up in relatively the same way. There are targeting features that are the same. AoE abilities. Like, if you play WoW, you understand a lot of the, like, just baseline nuances of Final Fantasy by default. It's the same as when I was playing Undecember, and I was like, oh, well, this is just like Path of Exile, and oh, this is just like Path of Exile, this is like Path of Exile, right? Whereas, like, if you go and play Lost Ark, there are a lot of things that you would not intuitively understand as a WoW player going into Lost Ark, and New World is probably somewhere in between.
End of the day, it's just not a game that exists for me anymore, and that's perfectly fine. Not every game has to be for Brian, and despite my time with it, I don't regret any of the time I spent in 14. I don't regret helping people get into the game at all, but it's time for me to say goodbye, and those are the 3 reasons why I'm leaving Final Fantasy 14. So it's at this point we talk about what comes next. Brian, what about the controller guides? Brian, what about live letters? What about FanFest? What about you and Chris at Work to Game? How is the content going to be structured? Work to Game was always a collaborative vision, a vision of sitting down and discussing MMORPGs, vision of discussing video games overall, but obviously a passion for the MMO. Chris has a great...
I feel like there's no problem with having more people and having more games that you talk about on your show. New World does have, like, it doesn't have as big of an audience as Final Fantasy XIV, but there's a lot of people out there that are looking to consume New World content. And to be honest, because it's a smaller game, there aren't a lot of content creators that make content for New World right now. There's Damone Kim. I think that's the main guy who's doing New World content. Maybe a handful of other people, but other than that, it's very, just random.
love for World of Warcraft. He loves Guild Wars 2. I agree with him on Guild Wars, not so much on World of Warcraft, but we also share a handful of games. And so we're going to continue those discussions, and we're going to...
Yeah, I think that's a good thing. Someone says, will we survive a content pivot? I think that yes. The truth is that these types of videos for a New World audience would be fine. This is totally fucking fine. I don't think a content pivot is that hard to do whenever you're transitioning from one MMO to another MMO. Also, this guy wasn't even ever liked in the Final Fantasy community anyway. Like, I always heard people talking shit about him to begin with. So it's like, I mean, was he really doing very well in Final Fantasy in the first place? Probably not. So I would say, yeah, it wouldn't be that hard for him to transition over as long as the content is just the same degree of quality. That's about it. He's a notorious clickbaiter. Yeah. And so, yeah, we don't like that guy. Yeah, exactly. And so, like, New World players don't really give a fuck about that. Like, New World players, they don't like social media, okay? Half of them were born before it existed, so it's all fucking, all this new shit that their kids get into and they have to constantly take their phones away from them. So, yeah, I think this is fine. This guy's going to his people.
Continue that show, and if you guys are interested in that, that's something that we're going to keep moving forward on. When it comes to the controller guides specifically, I've got 6 left to finish. I'm going to finish those. I started this. I want to make sure that everybody who's been waiting for those is able to get what they need so they can enjoy the job that they want on the input that they enjoy playing the game on. Hopefully that helps out. It always is very encouraging to me when I hear somebody, either they enjoy it, their kids end up playing the game and they're able to play with their family because controller's a little bit more easy to understand, I think, personally, if you've never played on mouse and keyboard. And then also for those of you who are physically impaired, who have some kind of, like inability to play on a mouse and keyboard, that I've been able to help out. So that means a lot to me, and I'm very glad that I've been able to help out. But the reality is I'm going to finish those. I don't think I'm going to do, if I ever play the game again, any kind of crazy Omni 100 or whatever they end up doing, namely because I think that really is a big thing that I didn't enjoy. I did it out of the love for the community, despite some of the community just being... Oh,
this guy leveled all of his characters up to 90? Is that what he's talking about? Like he said, Omni, yeah. Bro, fuck that. I mean, like, yeah, of course he burned himself out. Like, if that's not something that you want to do, then you're really not going to enjoy it. For me, I have like 3 characters that I like playing in Final Fantasy. Maybe the other ones are okay. Maybe one day I'll figure it out. The only thing to me is I kind of wanted to have all the tanks leveled up. So like it's kind of like an Overwatch, for example, where it's like you want to know how to play all of the tanks so you can solve as many problems as possible with your role.
The absolute worst of humanity. I did it out of the love for the really good people.
Omni Tank,
the parts of the community that I love. And so I want to finish those because I want people to be able to have that. Maybe somebody will step up and do controller guides, from here on out, and that'd be great. Maybe they'll simplify and figure out some things to do, bring in some really cool technology. That'd be great too, within the controller setup. I'll be very curious, again, looking for a reinventation, because they talk about another 10-year plan, and I don't know, it feels like it's complete, and I'm happy with where it was. So that's where I'm going to finish those. And then in terms of live letters and coverage of the news, I've got 13 plus years experience with this game. I think I can provide a lot of historical value and also a level of curiosity.
No, he should keep doing that because people will come back and they'll want to hear his opinion about anything new that comes out. In terms of like for his channel, it would be a good idea to continue covering the big events of the game. Like, that's what I do, is I always cover big events for every game that I've played.
Curiosity, is this a piece of content that would make me want to play the game again?
Watch him come back if something new gets announced. Well, that's fine. Like, was he not allowed to come back if he takes a break or he doesn't want to play it for a while? Like, he's like, well, we don't want you anyway. You get the hell out of here, you son of a bitch. You son of a bitch, you gotta play another game, you gotta play that New World? No, you get the fuck out of here. Rest in piss, you won't be missed, bitch. Fuck you.
However, and with respect to those of you guys who might be upset that somebody who's not playing the game is covering it, and we know that those people exist, I'll be looking for feedback. If it ends up causing too much trouble, too much drama, too many trees like hitting the window, I'll be sure to kind of take that into account and would be, willing to step away from that coverage if it became an issue where it was just...
Never fucking step away based off of negative feedback. If people are watching the videos, just keep fucking making them, okay? That's the only thing that matters. If people are making negative comments, ban them from your channel. If they're sending you negative messages, block them. You have every tool at your disposal to solve these problems. Yeah, there's always always going to be negative comments. You're always going to get people that are pissed off about what you're doing for whatever reason. Just fucking ban them. Most of the time, I'm going to be real, okay? 95% of the constructive criticism that people give online to content creators is not constructive at all. It's just noise. Throw it away and do whatever you think is the best option. Yeah, most people have no fucking idea what they're talking about.
Causing people pain. I'm not here to junk on your game and kill your joy. Like, I'm a very joyful person, and I really want Final Fantasy XIV to do better and to be better. And it's unfortunate that as a game, it's become that. It's become a game where the idea that it could improve is such an insult to people, versus where in New World, like, saying the game can improve, everybody gets excited. Like, yes, oh my gosh, imagine when we see this happen and when we can get this kind of content. Like, it's a very hopeful group, where in 14 it's a very defensive and in a way insecure kind of.
I think that's partially true. It's partially not true. Like, for example, whenever I suggested, like last year, whenever they did the the news thing, whenever I suggested that they do Mythic Dungeons, Mythic Plus Dungeons, stuff like that, I think a lot of people thought that was cool, and people agreed with that. I also said, and this is just a fucking fact, that WoW's transmog and collection system is infinitely better than Final Fantasy XIV's. Yoshi P knows this. It's just that they don't have the tech to do it right now. I also think that the world building in everywhere, ironically, except Shadowlands, is way better because you can go from zone to zone seamlessly without having to go through a loading screen. I think this is a huge improvement. I think it's way better. It's something that New World does better also. There's a lot of things in Final Fantasy XIV that could be massively improved on. I also think that there's a... like, I don't know what it is, but like, I always feel like there's like a 50 or 100 millisecond delay whenever I cast something to whenever it happens on the screen. This is especially true with interrupts. I don't like the way that plays. It makes me feel like I'm constantly living in Australia, and I'm not sure how to solve that. Are these things that would make me not want to play the game? No, they're not. But these are things that, are not good about the game. And there are many textures in Final Fantasy XIV that are lower quality. And there were people that got upset about me saying that. And then fucking Square Enix was like, yeah, that's true. We're going to fix it in 7.0. So there you go, or 8.0. I don't even know which one it's on right now. It's 6.2 or 6.1 right now. So it'll be 7.0. Yeah, so they're literally doing these things. I think that Final Fantasy players, in a general sense, are much more defensive about criticism, but at the same time, I don't think that they are completely delusional. There have been many times where I've offered, things that I think about the game, etc., and a lot of people have been like, yeah, that makes sense. Sure. PvP needs to be better in Final Fantasy. Feels a bit lackluster for me. Well, the PvP that they did, it was like Crystalline Conflict. A lot of people were really positive about it. And I think that that's important to see. I mean, if the people that are playing the game like it, then that's all that matters. Just because WoW players hate the game, so they don't try to defend it because they share the criticism. Yeah, I've said that before. Suffers from a lot of over-casualness. It's the reason I quit. You get one ultimate per expansion and the 4 raid bosses every 8 months. It's really tough to find something to do after you do that. Yeah, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that WoW, in a lot of ways, kind of caters too much to the hardcore player. Like, Final Fantasy is absolutely a game that has hardcore challenges. And they have, like, Apex accomplishments where, they have a number of, like, different mounts that you can get that are hard to get. things like Necromancer, Lone Hero, etc. And then also Ultimates and Savages. And, you know, there are many different types of hard content in Final Fantasy, but it's not like World of Warcraft, where like every patch is built off of the apex, like cornerstone high-end raid content. I don't think that's a bad thing, though. Like, it's not. I feel like also New World has done a very good job with that. New World has added in expansions to the game, whether it be like the Medley Fair or the Brimstone Sands, and these are not necessarily like defined by how hard they are, but just by what they add to the game, and I think that's a good thing. If you're playing a game only for it to challenge you all the time, you're probably going to have to play more than one game.
Have a defensive. I always kind of was confused by that mindset, you know, that the idea that you're playing a game that does change in its nature, but yet you're absolutely afraid of that community policing is it just drives every good idea and even every bad idea. Just it's got to crush them all, because we can't.
I wish I had some examples for that. You know what I mean? Because like, I think that most of the time I've watched like Xeno's videos before. Obviously, I've watched like 20 of them. And every single time that he's talked about the game and he's said suggestions, most of the people have been in agreement of those suggestions. Yeah, everybody's been pretty much positive about that. This guy seems to dislike the community more than the game. Yeah, I think that's probably what it is. The community, the reason people dunk on this guy is because he constantly does what he's doing right now, makes dissent out and calls for change, isn't allowed to exist as a blanket statement, go literally anywhere, anyone see the reality, 6 of one, half dozen other, people have loads of different opinions. Yeah, I'm curious to know where these opinions are. You know, like what is an example of an opinion that the Final Fantasy community will not hear?
Let this game change. We have to, control the narrative,
and
it's not for those reasons that I'm leaving. The 3 reasons I listed are the reasons, but I'm sure that those people will pop their head in occasion. Yeah. But you know what? That's the game that they play. But that's essentially my plan, and those are the reasons why Final Fantasy 14 isn't the game for me. I really would love for it to become a game for me again. I've debated regarding FanFest. I want to go because even if it's 7.0 isn't a re-invitation, I want to hang out with everybody. We haven't had a physical fan fest in a while, and it'd be really great to see everybody, to hang out with everybody, to share that experience, if not at least for one last time, one last hurrah. But I'll keep you guys up to date on what that plan looks like, because I don't know, like right now I have subscription, and some of you guys were so generous, especially with my financial situation over the last couple of months, that were able to gift me sub time, and so one thought I have is continuing to keep my sub active as a part of going or trying to go to FanFest. I don't know if I'll get media access or not. I mean, that's obviously a question. Maybe Chris will be the only one who gets media access. Who knows? But I'm not going to sit here and try to placate that and at the same time not be enjoying the content and not enjoying the time. But that's going to be the plan. Now, I have debated shifting my subscription into the Final Fantasy XI bucket because Final Fantasy XI means a lot to me. I'm debating on that. I have not yet reached a decision. You can let me know how you feel either way in the comments. I'll be very curious as to that.
You can play with Ninja.
But most of my time, if in terms of gaming, is really going to be focusing in on New World. Obviously, I'm very excited and looking forward to the future MMOs as well. So I'll be looking forward to that, and that's something where I'll shift my coverage to. I don't know what I'll do yet with Ginger XIV. I might become an 11 channel, might just be a general Final Fantasy channel. At the end of the day, I there's no wrong answers. We're just looking for the questions to ask, and that's going to be the thought there. But I wanted to give you guys this message. I wanted to give you guys these thoughts and wish you all the best, and thank you so much for all the support, especially within the world of Final Fantasy over these years. And hopefully none of this is surprising. Hopefully none of this upset you, but you can let me know one way or the other. Thanks guys so much again for your time. Thanks for listening to these words. Hopefully you guys enjoyed.
Oh
Hopefully
man,
I'll see you in my next video.
Oh,
until then, take care.
Oh, I wish he gave some examples, man. I really do, because I would love to talk about this shit. I would absolutely love to talk about Amarath. Oh shit, thanks Amarath. Amarath rated me. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you so much. I feel like this, okay? Here's where I'm at, is that you have a lot of these situations and somebody feels like they're not part of the community anymore. They feel like they're not part of they're pushed away, people don't like them, they're mad about their jokes, etc. Let's read some of the comments on this, okay? I'm sure these comments are going to be very well-reasoned, just level-headed people that are just giving their opinion about the topic. First comment right here, good riddance. Likewise, but I do hope you continue to join the game. You see, you know what I would have done? I would have, if this is like, I don't know if this is some inside joke and these guys are actually friends, I have no idea. But if this is somebody talking shit, I would never respond to them. I think that it's always a bad idea to respond to comments that are negative. Because if you do that, then all you're going to do is get negative comments. That's what happens. Let's go back over here. We'll read the other ones. Well, I saw this coming months back. I think the healthiest creator exit I've seen from any game. Putting in pursuit, something else. Applaud that. Yeah, I mean, all these people are generally actually positive. Wow. Look at this. Yeah, most people are okay. 5 kids say no more. Yeah, I would say so. I mean, look at that. What's this here? This is blow to me. Definitely gotta do whatever you gotta do. Yeah, I mean, that's just what happens. I mean, I think, honestly, like, what happened with the guy is he's played the game for fucking the better part of a decade, a whole decade, and he's burnt out playing the fucking game. I mean, like, what, I mean, yeah, duh. I mean, that's just the way it goes. So, yeah, he was playing the game for a long time, he's burned out, and that's it. And then he feels like the community doesn't like him, he's like, ah, fuck this. I don't think that's that big of a deal, man. Yeah, people are, I think people are blowing this out of proportion. But he says it wasn't a burnout. Well, it's not a burnout. It's just like, okay, I've done this for a really long time. Now what? That's not really burning out. That's just moving on. So yeah, that's kind of how I see it. I feel like this video backfired for Asmon. He wanted to make people more mad. Well, I don't know. I think it's pretty much fine. I'm curious, because whenever I see anybody saying something like goodbye Final Fantasy XIV and talking about the community, of course I'm going to want to watch that because it's fucking drama. 100%. I love drama. You know that. I know that. Everybody knows that, okay? So, of course I had to do that. I just want to promote more New World. Yeah, I've already watched this off stream. I've got an agreement and an understanding with Amazon Games, and so, you know, this is part of the contractual obligations. But yeah, overall, I think this is just, you know, it's pretty normal. Some people get mad about this kind of stuff, but I don't really think that that's that big of a deal.